Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mic check 1, 2. We back in the building for another great episode of the Coach Me Coach podcast. Let me tell you something, man. I got my man Dom in the back. He ready to rock and roll. A lot been going on in the college coaching. Let's get this thing rock and rolling. Apologize, we're a little bit late. I actually was sitting in the wrong broadcast for my beloved Miami Hurricanes, man. That's coming on at 9:05 right after this. So another double header. Why do I say that? Because last time we was on, Dom, I had to pull a double header because the Miami Hurricanes hired a defensive coordinator in Lance Guidry. Now we hire an offensive coordinator. And who? It's Shannon Dawson. So before I get started, you know everything looks good, sounds good, man. I apologize. You can hear me well, right, Dom?
Loud and clear, boss.
All right, let's get it rocking and rolling, man. How you feeling, man, on this great Valentine? Happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Hey, I'm alive, and so what they say in church? We blessed to be here, giving honor to God, pastors, saints, and friends. Hope everybody is enjoying their Valentine's Day. I tell you what, man, got off work, had to go to Publix, right? Couldn't get. I had never seen. It was like the 100 million man march. It was all men in there buying flowers and chocolate. I was like,
hey, boy, it's makeup day, dog. Hey, for the 364 days you've been jacking it up. This is the day you got to get it right.
You go to Publix, so okay, that's fair.
Hey, man, you'd be surprised, but like I say, man, happy Valentine's Day. Come to realize when you're in the sports and entertainment world, there's no days off. There's no holidays. No. It's entertainment days. But let's get this thing going, man. Big shout out to IMAX in the building. Sup, Coach Dom, Chat. Shad in the building. Shad out here right now. Coach Blanco and Dom telling you, hey, and I know you in this Orlando area, Dom. You missed a great show, man, with this the Southern Soul Festival, Love Festival. They had at the Popka Amphitheater, man. It was rocking, boy.
Man, I was working. I was pissed.
I get it, man. Let me tell you something, Tom. It was some young ones out there. It was some old ones out there. And then there was some battle cats out there, if you know what I'm saying, man.
Oh, boy.
But Coach Blanco was in the building. He had his all white on, looking super fresh. Don't touch me. Don't leave no fingerprints on the all white. And one girl had the nerve to ask me this. You know what she had the nerve to ask me, Don?
What's that?
She said, are those Bugle Boy jeans you wearing?
Ooh.
I said, heck no, girl. You know these polo.
Ooh.
So, shout out to Trick Daddy in the building, man. We got to make it happen, man. But,
man.
Coach Late filling up that cane juice. I was probably on it too early, man. And shout out to Shad for the $4.99 before we jump into this deal.
Shout out to the tree. Yeah, that's how you do it. Put some respect on the tree. You know how it is. What the OJ said. Christmas time in the city.
There it is. My bad. I didn't intro correctly. What's good, Coach Blanco, Dom, and the tree.
And
big
the
shout out to
tree.
that, man.
Yeah. That's my trademark. I've been telling y'all I'm gonna take the tree down for the past couple months though, but ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, let's get this thing rolling. There's a lot of things moving. This is the Coach Me Coach podcast. We currently got 102 people in the building. Appreciate it. There's a lot to talk about. Okay, this is not a hurricane show. This is the Coach Me Coach podcast. That's coming on at 9:05. So we going live at 9:05. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Let's talk Georgia. Kirby Smart, national championship winning coach 2 times in a row, loses a coordinator super late to the NFL in Todd Monken. Going over to John Harbaugh's team, the Baltimore Ravens, to become the offensive coordinator there. They promote Mike Bobo, who was the former Colorado State head coach, and I think he's had some stints at Georgia before under different regimes. What's your thoughts on that?
2007 to 2010. I want to say 2007, 2010, or 2007, 2014. Um, I thought it was a weird hire, to be honest with you. I thought it
For
was
Mike
risky.
Bobo?
I say this, so I changed that. I thought it was a safe hire. Um, because of somebody that's in the program, I think that they assume that he is, taking in as much of Monken's offense, as he possibly can as an analyst, enough to know what works. I would hope so. And to be honest with you, man, I think that all of this is happening so late in the game. Like, obviously coordinators come and go, especially when NFL jobs, open up. But man, all of this is happening so late. And I think a part of that is because NFL guys are not wanting to come down from the NFL. So the pool is kind of, it shrinks. You better get it by early January, or you're not gonna, get a good coordinator. So I think Georgia will be fine. I think that they have a lot of guys. That's the nice thing. You have talent. I think the biggest question is going to be the quarterback position. How is he when it comes to developing quarterbacks? Because, Georgia has like 3 5-star quarterbacks on the roster, but Stetson Bennett was still the guy who held the job. So if he can develop the quarterback, and I said it about Alabama, it wouldn't surprise me, man, if Georgia is just that ground and pound team this year and they just maul people. So I thought it was a safe hire. It was an interesting hire, but I don't think it's going to, hurt him too much. But I have to say this, man. I said it on the phone. I was really hoping Georgia hired Josh Gaddis. I was really hoping they went for him.
Why is that? Why is that? Why is
I
that?
think I think y'all know why. Because Ohio State would have won the national championship if they hired Josh Gaddis. That's how I put it that way. Because that
Wow.
offense, listen, that offense ain't doing nothing. I'm just saying. I know I pinched in there. I will say this. I think I joined with millions of Americans in college football who wish Georgia hired Josh Gaddis. So
Y'all tough, Dom. That's all I'm gonna say. And I get it though. I totally understand. I mean, it's part of it. Reggie said that he's hot. We rehired the
Bobo the
Bobo the
Clown.
Clown show.
Oof.
It's funny. I've known Coach Mike Bobo a little bit through recruiting. I mean, we're not buddies. We're not calling each other on Christmas morning to talk about Dom's tree. But what I will say is that he seemed to be a pretty cool guy, got along with players well, but I know he had some health issues.
Right.
At one point at Colorado. I think he was at Colorado State. He may have had them prior to and as well. But I will say this: do you think that is something they thought about, as well as when you talk about Kirby Smart and you look at Kirby Smart, you talk about a safe hire. It is late. You brought up the NFL guys not trickling down, trying to stay around. Do you think Kirby Smart thought that? Well, like you said, this guy knows the system. There's not going to be a lot of change so far in play style, play terminology, concepts, that kind of thing.
I was looking to see the exact is peripheral neuropathy is what he has, and he was 2019. He had some nerve damage, and he had to spend 10 days in the hospital. So I'm not. I'd be lying to you if I said I know how his health is now. Obviously, we hope Coach Bobo's doing well and that disease is under control. But I think one of the things, man, to realize is that this didn't catch Georgia off guard. Like it wasn't like Kirby didn't expect this, because there was rumblings about a week or two ago. I think what Kirby did was he looked at the remaining pool of guys who were available with the knowledge and the understanding that, okay, not too many people are coming down, to the NFL. Granted, I would have liked to see Byron Leftwich get a shot. Might as well. But I think he just looked at what he had available and said, okay, this is a safe bet for what we have and the talent that we have. it's one of those things. It's just don't screw it up. We may not have to be. Georgia had one of the best offenses in the country last year, so they may not have to be as great as they were, but it's like we have a defense that can score points, that can carry you. We just need the offense to do enough.
Mhm.
So that's what I kind of think went into that.
All right. Well, some people, Big Earl says he developed the QBs under Rick, which is Mark Rick, who's at Georgia, and y'all gave Rick the credit. I guess I'll be part of y'all. But no, I understand what you're saying. Usually it happens that way, right? The unsung heroes in these deals. And so because Mark Rick being a quarterback guy and all of that kind of stuff, I totally get where you're coming from. Shad for the 49, appreciate it. He says, and I hope OSU hired Gaddis to help Heartline. How about that? Hey man, I appreciate it. I appreciate that, Shad, man, for the 499. I say Gaddis needs to go to Ohio to prove to Michigan that he was the play caller, and Michigan only got where they got because of him. So I am highly in favor of that hire. And I say go Bucks. Hashtag, this is my new hashtag. Hashtag Bucks for Gaddis.
You said something interesting. You said, I hope he goes to Ohio. He can go to Ohio. That's fine. You can go to University of Ohio. Stay away from Columbus. Listen, trust me. Trust me. Our offense, yeah, we don't need. Well, if Gaddis wants to be analyst behind the graduate assistant, then that's fine. He could give Ryan Day and Brian Hartline some water while they call the plays. But other than that, we good up here, man. Go back to Michigan. Go ruin them again. That would be nice.
Shad say Bobo might be a 1-year rental and he goes back to an analyst role if he does have health issues. That's tough. Y'all tough on him. But I want to ask this question. Kirby and Saban feeling themselves this offseason. And it is, I have to be very honest, the two, I would consider those two the powerhouse programs right now in college football have taken, in essence, not necessarily, but in essence, I don't want to say no-name hires, but not big splash hires as coordinators. I guess that's the right way to say it, right? Not bringing in the Lane Kiffin, a Steve Sarkisian, a Mike Loxley, a Bill O'Brien. Those were splash hires. Now, because we know Alabama's known not to bring in big-name defensive guys, but they've always brought in, or relatively brought in, big-name offensive guys. Kirby Smart, I guess, in the same boat that he kind of moves up, and especially how they did as Mike Bobo being the head coach at Colorado State. Not doing very well. I understand bringing him on staff for experience and all of that stuff, but to move him up to OC, that's tough right there.
I think more so Saban than Kirby. And Shad, you've made some great points tonight, and I think you can put Kirby in that category because the point that I just made, and Shad, you just made the comment. I hope, I would have hoped that Byron Leftwich got a shot, just a shot. I mean, because he can't be no worse than your worst guy. And then you talk about recruiting, you talk about opening doors in the different areas of whether it's Florida and everything. I would have, same thing with Alabama. He at least deserved a shot. Hey, you want to turn around that receiving room that Alabama has, bring in Leftwich. But I feel like Saban more so than Kirby because Saban knew, everybody and their mamas knew that Pete Golding was gone, and what's his name? The offensive coordinator name fails me.
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien. Thank you. We knew that they were gone, so Saban had more time than Kirby to make a splash hire, to go out and talk to people, to go out and say, hey, come, control, here are the keys to the offense. I feel like, to Shad's point, and I believe I mentioned it before, they got so caught up in this is Alabama. And like you said, they bring in the big splash name offensive coordinator. I'm Nick Saban. This is Alabama. We can go get somebody. I think they probably told recruit that we're going to go get somebody. But because of this ongoing nature of college football, look, if if I was blessed enough to know football and be talented as a Coach Hayes, I'm telling you, I go back to coach high school before I coach college because it's too much to deal with. Because now
that cash get to talking, you might think differently. But I get where you're coming from the principle of it. I totally agree with you. Like, and that's another reason why these NFL guys too. So I would make that same comparison. I totally get where you're coming from, Dom. I totally get it. But I will say this: that is also a big reason why NFL guys are not flying down to coach college. Why? Like, it's gotten even harder to coach because it's getting to the point where it's 90% BS and 10% X's and O's.
Yep.
Where in NFL, it's probably 80% X's and O's and 20% of whatever. Nothing's 100%. But now the roles are reversed. You gotta recruit. You gotta not only recruit high school kids, you gotta recruit your own kids so they'll stay. You gotta get into that whole NIL thing. I mean, it's
transfer portal, yeah.
Oh, geez, I forgot about it. Transfer portal, so it is straight crazy.
And so, yeah, I think I mean, you make a great point, and I think Saban kind of underestimated. I think he bit off more than he can chew, and yeah, he was kind of feeling himself. Kirby that's just a little because I don't know. I heard about a week. And shout out to Haitian Ellen. Yes, definitely be sure to subscribe to Lactic Acid. Had to bring the gear out tonight.
Got the like official, that picture, Ellen. Look at you, Ellen.
Yeah, swag. We see it.
Y'all clap it up for Ellen V in the building.
Producer in the building. Hey, Ellen. Hey, listen, this is for real. Ellen is the real MVP of the Coach Me Coach podcast. I think we can all say that. We're not doing this without her. But yeah, I think Bobo, man, I feel like Kirby had enough time to know, but he had to feel that there's nobody else that I could bring in that could match or come even close. I will say this, though. I'll be interested, and because we're going to get into this in a second. Mm-hmm. Andy Ludwig, we're going to get into him with Notre Dame. That would have been a pretty decent hire from Utah, specifically with the way that Utah utilizes tight ends and the way that they're able to scheme tight ends open. Mm-hmm. So actually, my sympathy is kind of going down a little bit because I'm telling you, man, I think. And then again, we're gonna have to wait. We just have to wait and see how everything plays out. But on the surface, it's not. It's kind of like, listen, the game is changing, and you didn't adapt with it. Kind of, felt yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and let's do this real quick. Shad 1419 for the 199 says you got to get in all the picks like Brian Kelly. As long as you ain't dancing behind the recruits, Ellen. Well, you could dance behind the recruits, Ellen, but don't dance like him. That's all I'm saying. You could dance behind them. Just don't dance like Brian Kelly. That boy was out here.
How you off rhythm in a rotating thing? I was like, Brian, what you doing, dog?
Oh, that's funny. You're right. I mean, you off beat, man. Let's flip this deal, man. Let's talk about Notre Dame a little bit. Let's talk about Coach Marcus Freeman. He loses his OC, right? Brian Leftwich gets fired from Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL. And they still don't have one yet, right? Mm-mm. They still don't have one right now. Is Notre Dame in trouble?
Notre Dame. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, is Notre Dame in trouble? And are they the only major college football? I'm talking about Power 5, college football program now without an OC.
Yeah, it was them and Miami. And then Miami did what they did. I guess I just gave away how I feel about the hire.
All right, go ahead.
So, background for those who don't know. Byron Leftwich actually contacted Notre Dame about their offensive coordinator position. Not really sure what happened with that. Notre Dame was really, really into Andy Luckwood. He is the offensive coordinator of Utah, which I thought was an interesting hire in general. But
Mm-hmm.
those talks were really going well. There was pictures of Andy at the game, Notre Dame's basketball game on Saturday, I believe. And people thought it was a done deal that he would go and be Notre Dame's offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame's Ludwig's buyout was $2.8 million, and Notre Dame did not want to match that. They have the money to? Absolutely, but they did not want to match that. And so today, Notre Dame does not have an offensive coordinator. Are they in trouble? I mean, it's not ideal to not have an offensive coordinator. 3.5 weeks before spring football kicks off?
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Rees is gone. You have to answer your. Here's the thing. I'm curious if Sam Hartman stays if they don't get this, figured out, because what he came to run a specific offense under Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think something has to be done within the next 3 to 4 days. If they don't get something squared away, then I do think they're in trouble. That's just my personal.
So let me ask you this: with Utah, with the Utah OC kind of being in as the leader in that hunt, who's now, if you know, who's now kind of the talk of the town? What are the rumblings in regards to Notre Dame's OC or potential OCs out there?
I have not heard. I'll look it up as we speak. I have not heard anything as far as a lead on who it might be, but Notre Dame has two things that they have to do. They not only have to find an offensive coordinator, they have to find an offensive line coach. Because
Eric Easton left, yeah.
Because he's gone. He retired. That's one of the best offensive line coaches in college football. I've seen Colin Klein. Obviously, we know what happened with Andy Luck but Colin Klein, if I'm not mistaken, Colin Klein is former quarterback of Kansas State. Back in.
Oh yes, I know him.
Yeah,
I know him well. Yes.
So I have not. Like I said, somebody mentioned a guy by the name of Gerald Parker. And Gerald Parker was the tight ends coach at Purdue, I believe. I'm sorry. West Virginia. West Virginia. That's not a good pickup because West Virginia was 83rd in total offense last year, or something along those lines. So,
you tough, boy. Hey, you tough for yours. You a little under the radar with your little. You be slapping them up, man.
Listen, man, I saw them play, and it's just, and I'm not. Maybe it's different. Somebody can go with more talent, but hey. What do they say? You stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's what we're doing here, man.
Matter of fact, hey, cheers to you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, we got to take glasses over here. Go the right way with it. Come on, ready?
All right.
Ding! There it is, man. Cane juice. Dom sipping that cane juice instead of that Buckeye booze.
Hey, it worked whatever it is.
There it is. Appreciate you, brother Jay Blade with the 499. Don't miss it. I know you're gonna be in the building at 9:05 because we're gonna make it happen.
Wait, I want Canes fans, instead of asking this, I'm gonna present some stats, and I want them. I'm giving you guys homework. So between 9:00 and 9:05, we got to do this homework. So the new guy that's coming in, 50th.
He has a name.
I know, it just failed me. I've been working all day.
Shannon Dawson.
Shannon Dawson. I want Canes fans to. I'm asking you to think logically. Okay, so he's coming in. Houston was 50th in passing last year, 79th in rushing. Now, here's the thing. They can. I actually had to go back before this episode, and I watched a couple of games and stuff. They do some things that Josh Gaddis did not do that could be good for Miami. A lot of mid-level route
Like
concepts,
score? You mean like score?
like score. And he does a good. Listen, I give him credit. He does a good job of scheming up to get the ball into playmakers' hands. They run a lot of screens, a lot of screens. So this just only a matter of time before you lose your hair with the screens. But here's the question I have for Miami fans. Then we ain't gonna talk about it no more. Do you think that this is what he's bringing over, or is he a product of Dana Holgorsen?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they both come under that same tree, and then he's been with Dana Holgorsen with two stints. One at West Virginia, and now one at Houston. As I looked it up, so of course I think you around the guy long enough, you rub off on him, just like I got you drinking cane juice. I mean,
Listen,
it's what it is. So I think that's what it is. But this is interesting, bringing up Notre Dame, not to change subject. And I appreciate you, Lewis, for bringing this up because I did forget about it. But Colorado's Sean Lewis, who was the head coach at Kent State, was the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator up there at Syracuse for a while under Dino Babers.
Yeah.
He was mentioned. I haven't heard any more rumblings about that. So I don't know if Prime has duct taped him to a seat. I have not a clue. But I have not heard any more rumblings over the past week about Sean Lewis in that sense. So I think because they probably thought they were going to go ahead and get the Utah guy. And that apparently didn't pan out.
No.
But somebody said they fact checked you right here. I got to see. We got a fact check in the building. The Woods says Houston's offense was ranked 21st in 2022.
I didn't listen. No, you ain't fact check me. I said they're passing offense. I didn't say total offense. I said passing offense.
Check that out, Woods, and check because he did. He said passing offense was. But hold on, how is your passing offense 50th, your rushing offense 70th, and that equals 21? What kind of math going on here?
I don't know. Here's the thing, man. And I watched them play Kansas and stuff like that. And I've watched Houston play because they're in the AAC. So I was like 2 and 2 ain't equating to 4 here because you're rushing 4 and they use multiple backs. They use a lot of speed backs. But I was kind of like 325 yards a game throwing in the air, 142 rushing yards. So I was like, okay, 21st. So I don't know. I was confused too.
Maybe scoring, because scoring goes a part of that. Maybe they put up a lot of points. Maybe because of total. I don't know. I don't know how they calculate. Everybody got a different. Like I say, 2 + 2 = 4. 100 different ways around here when it comes to these statistics and things, man.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to any other team because I know you got a whole show on that.
Well, no, yeah, we could do that. But here's my question. I do want to get into the Super Bowl. I do want to talk a little Eric Bieniemy again. I looked this up, but we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about this doggone Tubi commercial. I think may go down as one of the best commercials of all time.
Man.
Just because of the way they did. I thought I was super smooth, and everybody has gone through that. But anyway, we'll talk about that. Are there any other college teams out there right now that has made some big news, some movement? No, that's Miami. So we'll talk about it. Hold up. J Love T. Come on, man. No sleep tonight, coach. Hope you go live. What you mean, hope I go live? I'm going live at what? 9:05. So stay tuned, J Love T. I need you to call in. I want to hear your thoughts, man. Coach, come on, man. Coach, I'm on it like white on rice, baby. Anyway.
Man, we I think we covered everything that I can think of, at least where college football is concerned.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, was it 57? Something like that?
57, yeah.
Super Bowl 57, Kansas City Chiefs Philadelphia Eagles. Let me tell you something. Philadelphia Eagles beat them people all up and down the field. That's how I looked at it. But they never put them away.
No.
That was the issue. I tell people all the time in football games, if you don't put people away, it's almost like who shot the sheriff, but I forgot his son. And that's what happened. You forgot his son. Oh, the light-skinned wonder, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, right? Didn't play great, but he made plays when he needed them. And that's what was big. I know it's a lot of controversy when it comes to the call. We're going to call it the call. I don't know what they're going to name it something at some point. What was your take on that? Immediate reaction right now. What's your take
on the game or the call?
The call itself.
It's tough. It's a brutal way to win the game, but it's kind of what we talked about. By the letter of the law, it was the right call. Would I have called it? No. So that's just kind of it's a physical game. You let them play, especially in that moment.
And again, hindsight is 2020. But here's what's not 2020. How are you calling the game, right? So if we look at, like you said, to your point, the letter, I don't know what it is bothering me, but I don't know if my allergies. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm rubbing my face.
The allergies have been terrible.
The pollen is ridiculous here in Orlando. I'm driving my car, and the head of my car, all I see is yellow. It's got my car got a yellow tint on it. But anyway, so I apologize for everybody. But listen, as a referee in a crew, there's a point where, as you're making calls, it starts to form how you're going to call the game. Are you going to be a tic-tacky crew? Meaning I'm calling every little thing? Are we going to let them play a little bit and we calling just, real major fouls? You have to, and I think that's the biggest problem with officiating is the inconsistency. If they calling it that way all game, I'm cool with it. If they're not calling it all game, then I'm cool with that too. But let me know the rules to what you're doing so I know how to play. Now, I will say this because somebody said he was held twice. Right here, Knox Kane. Appreciate you, Knox. I get that. But, and again, this is the defensive side of me coming out, Dom. If I see another offensive receiver pushing off to catch a ball, no call, I have an issue.
Right. You're right. Right.
If I see that's the problem. They're not calling. Remember before, if you extended your hand, they were going to call pass interference, offensive pass.
Offensive pass interference. And they're making contact beyond the 5 yard, yards they're giving.
And both of them are making, like you're making contact, you chicken fighting down the field with your hand and so forth. But my problem is I've seen so many receivers do this to create separation and they get no call. Do I understand that in the rule, the game is all about scoring points and let people score? Maybe it's part of the script. But I didn't get my copy of the script though, dog. That's the problem. But here's my problem. They don't call things offensively. Prime example, I forget who it was, but in that same game, my man got there and he lowered the helmet right in there. Then you saw Kelsey, the offensive line Kelsey, demolished the corner number 21 with a headshot on that block.
McDuffie, yep.
McDuffie, right, against Kansas City. I'm just talking about calls, not who's benefiting from the calls. But that's a clear defenseless receiver, or defenseless defender who is on his knees.
Right.
And he gets a clear headshot because the root to the letter of the law, like you say, any blow to the head or neck area. It doesn't have to be helmet to helmet, but any blow, bro, that's clear blow to the head and neck area, no call.
And they don't call it on offense. And that's, like you said, that's the problem.
Yeah. Now, they should have called a flag on Juju Schuster for wearing that doggone skirt. And then they should have called another flag on your other boy for wearing the blouse with the suit. The boy he wanted his cleavage to show. What's going on here, dog?
Dude, I don't know, but did you see Juju get roasted on Twitter by AJ Brown?
He should have.
And he asked for it too. Like, why? Like, come on, man. Post the picture, Valentine's picture, James Bradbury and AJ Brown call him TikTok boy. So listen, that's a top 10 response. Hey, listen, you asked for it. Can't get in your feelings now. But I agree with you, man. You can't You're not calling that throughout the game. And to your point, AJ Brown, that's a good example. Coach, AJ Brown is 230 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
His game is physicality. He has speed, athleticism, all that, but he's a physical receiver. So anytime those physical receivers, line up against, these corners, it's always going to be physical. They didn't call anything throughout the game. I didn't see anything called. So that was my thing. Juju is a physical receiver. He was terms of how he's built. And so I listen, if you're not going to make that call, and here's how I look at it. Say, the ball was uncatchable. Because I'll be honest, I didn't think if he didn't get held, I don't think Juju was catching that football. That's just my opinion.
So to Knox's point, who Knox came earlier, he was held twice.
Right.
Well, guess what? I got a problem with delayed flags. I.e. Ohio. Say it again.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
I.e.
Ohio State. So when he held him the first time, if you wanted to call that holding, I was all for that. Throw the flag then, because the foul had already been committed. Don't throw the flag based on what you're going to see later, because that means that you're not calling it based on that, right? Throw the flag then. The second hand on his back was not a hold. I think he has his hand on his back. He never altered his route. You never saw his body twist. You never saw any of those things. So even regardless of catchable balls, like, and then even when you saw that, he still ran and the ball was gone. Once the ball landed, if I'm not mistaken, once the ball was out and incomplete, you see the flag.
Right.
You don't see it at the point at the time when it happened. And therefore, that's where I think a lot of people have a problem with. If that ref would have came in when he saw that and he came out of that whip route, and when he came in, he got held and he was working his way this way on the whip route and started to go up the field and the flag was being thrown, that's fair enough time. Those guys know they're throwing a flag, boom, you throw it right down the action. But you're saying this guy came in, ran a whip route, turned up, went upfield on the wheel route, bro. And then all of a sudden you get the flag. To me, that's bad business. And that's
especially at that point in the game. Yep.
And that's where you think referees. These referees are also like and I have an issue with this too. And we're talking football, really. I know we're talking about the Super Bowl. I think there needs to be a rule change. And again, this is the defensive guy talking right now. I'm a defensive guy. There needs to be a rule change. Remember when the guy caught the swing route out the backfield? He caught the ball and he got hammered. Number 32 was playing, bro. I forgot his name. He was playing for the Kansas City. And he hit him and he fumbled and they picked it up. They let him run it in. They end up calling it back.
Nick Bolton. Oh, boy, he had a great game.
Right, but here's my problem with that. You had both feet down, ball in hand. Oh, we have to make a football move. Well, why is it I can tiptoe this? Hold on, but why is I can tiptoe the sideline as soon as both feet instantaneously touch the ground, I'm inbounds. I didn't make a football move. In the back of the end zone, I tiptoe, I catch it. I didn't make a football move. My problem is if you both of your feet are down and you catch that ball and the ball is not when you caught it and it's in your hand clearly and I hit you, that should be considered a fumble, bro.
It should be.
That's how I look at it.
No, because it happens all the time. So they're saying, from what I've heard, it's a football move, which I still don't get.
That's what makes it subjective. But that's what makes it subjective. Because what is considered a football move? If I catch the ball and both feet are down and the ball is not moving in my hand, that's a football move, because if I do get tackled and not fumble it, the ball will be spotted right there.
And then the thing that confused me, I thought this is what I just grew up watching and listening to. It was 3 steps. 3 steps. You catch the football, you secure 3 steps, and then that's considered a football move.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows what it is now? Like, we still don't even know what a catch is, let alone a football move.
Bro, because Kelsey had one on his forehead, on his helmet, then his hand came over. That was considered a catch. Then the other dude, and then you saw Smith.
Devonta Smith,
he had his hand. Yeah, like I'm saying, it needs to be, if that ball is in both hands and the ball is not moving and you get splattered like that dude, I think that's a perfect example. A perfect example of catch, hit, fumble.
Yeah. because I don't know. So if there's three guys surrounding me, right? Let's just say you and two other people. I catch the ball. What football move are you making? Like you're not making a football move. If it's one thing to catch it and you never really possess it. You're juggling the football in your hands or something like that, or you're trying to tuck it in, but it's not secure. That's one thing. But I don't know. What are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody to make a juke move or whatever the case might be? But it's not.
Yeah.
It's inconclusive. And to your point, not the directions, but the rules. I don't understand these new rules because they're not called consistently, and it seems like it's something every week, something new every week. Um, and two, it's I don't know. It's it's weird. It's weird. I don't
All right.
understand it.
So to Studio One Live, not moving in your hand. Who can keep the ball 100% still? How much can it move? And then he says, Studio, well, I'm about to get on you, boy. And then he says, Coach, stop saying ball not moving. No one can keep it still. Okay, here's a football, Studio. And in this football, if it's in my hands, I got both hands. Yes, the ball is moving, but it's not like this. I'm not in the process of catching it. Like if I catch it and it is doing this. You see that, Studio? It's not doing this and I'm bobbling it. We're talking about it's in possession. You have, even if you're bringing it to your body, is the ball moving around in your hand? No, it's not moving around in your hand. Yes, the ball itself is moving, but it's not moving around. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So those are the things I'm saying. I get where you're coming from, but with video replay, you can tell if the ball is caught and you can tell if a dude is catching the ball and is doing this. You can see if it's moving. See that the ball is moving, not my hands, but the ball is moving. If I had a ball like this and I get hit, then guess what? That's a fumble in my book. Now, will it be a little bit more skepticism? Yeah, probably so. I mean, not skepticism, but subjective. I get
Yeah,
it.
but they call it secure. Are you securing the catch? Pretty much.
Correct. 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 And what I'm saying, so like to his point, if I'm catching the ball and I'm bringing it into my body, right? And I'm bringing it into my body and I get hit, guess what? We good. We're talking about when they on my, if the ball is like this on my helmet, right? And I'm fumbling with it, that ball is
Yeah,
not secure.
correct.
So anyway, we could talk about that another day. But I appreciate it, man. Securing the cat studio, boy. Me and you going, what? You boy, you
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
I'm just messing with your studio, man. You my man. That Studio One, my man got the European locks on the China soccer and everything else. But like I said, we getting close, man. We at 8:45. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about this. Will this go down as one of the great Super Bowl games?
Yeah, it was the third most watched television event. I saw something like that. Um, Whatever that means, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I love seeing Jalen Hurts. I think if we're obviously we're going to talk about, and first I got to say this, man. Two quick things. Obviously, we're going to talk about the pass interference call,
Mm-hmm.
but if Jalen Hurts does not fumble that football, I don't think we're congratulating the Eagles and continuing to talk about his story.
And I
Two,
have to say this too. I'm sorry to
go
cut
ahead,
you off. I
go
don't
ahead, go
think
ahead.
that call was a determining factor in the game. I think it did help them move, but they still had time to get a stop, force punts, everything else, and they didn't. It may have been a momentum swinger changer,
Yeah,
but it wasn't. It wasn't kind of like the Miami Ohio State where it was right there at the very end. They still had time to go on. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your points.
I also think, man, what and God, how did I almost lose my train of thought? Oh, that's what I want to say. I have never seen a team as physical as that Philly offensive line on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. They ran the same play, QB
Mm-hmm.
sneak, and they mauled Kansas City's defensive line. They mauled Kansas City's defensive line. And can I say something interesting, man?
Mm-hmm.
If you and I have a friend who's a big Florida Gator fan. and I know this is going to sound bad because this is shade. I looked at, because I saw the punt return.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it amazing how many dudes are having successful careers that they misused at Florida?
Definitely. Oh, we see it at
It's
Miami. We see it at Miami. So I get it.
Tony, that dude is that electric. I'm trying to get the ball in his hands 10 to 15 times. But get everybody else. Emory Jones was the leading rusher on that team, and you got all these stable running backs. What's the kid that's playing for Houston now that's balling out? Was it Pierce or something like that, or Pirine, or
Oh, Damian
what?
Pierce. The
Damian
running back?
Pierce.
Damian
Yeah,
Pierce.
I was like, and I texted him. I said, how does Tony not get utilized more in the offense than he did? Like, what did he do? Did he owe Dan Mullen some money or something like that? Because I was just like, that is crazy. But yeah, that punt return killed them. Kansas City, and I'll be honest with you, there was a point where I was like, they are getting destroyed physically. And shout out to their offensive line, because Philly has a really good defensive line,
Defensive line. Yeah.
and Kansas City was able to run the ball. Patrick Mahomes, was able to scramble when needed. I saw a quick rundown prior to the game that said, and it was by Greg Olson, who I thought did a great job in his first Super Bowl when it comes to commentary. I love what he said. Travis Kelce is so hard to guard because he does not run conventional routes. Like you don't know what he's doing, and you saw that he was a matchup problem. So, kudos to Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, specifically in that second half.
And let's bring it up. They made adjustments. And a lot of people talk about this. So now you brought up Andy Reid. Great segue. Appreciate it. But we're getting short on time here. Eric Bieniemy, there's a lot of question, right? Shout out to Shad and the Cold Dice. Eric Bieniemy is not the play caller. Andy Reid is. I highly believe that Andy Reid oversees and, maybe suggests, but I believe that Eric Bieniemy is a play caller. When I see Mahomes go off, I see him go to Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him flying to Andy Reid. I know he's the head coach, but I see him go straight to Bieniemy. That's one. Two, I think the relationship between Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy is a mentorship, father-son type deal in regards to coaching, meaning Andy Reid looks at him and says, all right, what you thinking? All right, okay, well, that's cool, no problem. But here's some options that you can take. For example, the halftime adjustment. Bro, the play calling, the way they designed it, knowing they were going to be in man, pick the guy off, come in and run right back out, knowing that they like to switch off. See, that's where I think Andy Reid's gold is. Not goal, but gold, as in the mineral. He can look at the play call. He's hearing the play call, and now he's saying, all right, cool. See how they played that? So right here at this very moment, when you stack a dude, what do? That's when they make their call off. So now you come in, you're going to motion in, they're going to call off and whip it right back. Now you got them in a confused state. See, that's what I tell people when I talk about offensive coordinators are getting very smart. And when you watch me do my breakdowns and I do the good, bad, and the uglies, I always talk about there's two things that hurt defenses. Formation and motion are great manipulators to a defense. And you caught them mid-check thinking he was going to go all the way across. Soon as he came, he hit it. As soon as he did that, that dude went to check, and he looked back, hiked the ball, and before you know it, they lost him. Touchdown. Came back and ran the same thing the other way. And one thing I like about Patrick Mahomes, he seems to always give a catchable ball.
Yep. It's magical. I mean, that's a weird word, but just the way that they're able to, even with the running schemes, they're able to, call guys open, and everything. And just the fact that they were able to find different ways. I'm thinking of It's the same play because they ran it twice for a touchdown with Sky Moore
Mm-hmm.
and McKinnon. I look, you got McKinnon, the little 200-pound running back, is lined up as a fullback. You have Sky Moore, the speedy receiver, who is lined up as the running back. And all of a sudden, on fourth and short, it's just okay. They are running to the left side. The left side was very successful for Kansas City. So you
Mhm.
switch the formation, you bring somebody in motion. It's like a little mini. It's a fullback dot or a fullback, whatever you want to call it, the specific play,
Mhm.
and it works. They find ways to scheme open their best guys, and it's just fun to watch them do it.
And that's that Sarkisian stuff. We saw Alabama in the national championship when Sarkisian was using with Devontae Smith, right? Like you saw that how they manipulate and they get the mismatch, the linebacker, third strongest guy. When you saw Alabama play Miami and they got their fast receiver on
Jameson.
Bradley Jennings on the middle linebacker, he didn't have a chance, a snowball's chance in Miami, not even in hell, but just in Miami, he didn't have a chance. So like I said, that's the beauty of it. I want to say this. It's Andy's offense. Eric runs it great. Thank you, Jermaine. I appreciate that. And you're right. That's football. A lot of people get stuff from somebody else, right? Everybody's talking about the offensive hire we got now at Miami. Great. Where did he learn it? He's an air raid guy who created the air raid. Yeah. So these are the things. That's football. And then you create your own little, your own little nuances and intricacies about it, and you make it your own. But
really, Mike Leach, just have to put that out there because
Mike
there was
Leach,
some of Mike Leach and Dana. But go ahead.
But I was just saying, so to that point, I did a show on February 18th, 2021 about this very particular topic, about head coaches. This was at the time Eric Bieniemy didn't get a chance. That was two years ago, literally in 4 days from now will be 2 years to the date. And he still doesn't have a job. I know he said he interviewed for the commander's job, if I'm not mistaken. And there was talks about an offensive coordinator spot at another spot. I forgot where it was. I don't know if it's Texans or whatever. I forget. But he said he has not interviewed for another OC spot, only the head coach spot he has interviewed for. So my question is it time? Which I believe everybody says yes. But why? Well, why is he not getting this shot? And we could call it race. We could say it. But there has to be more to it. That may be a big component or a component of why. But we're starting to see more black head coaches, more guys getting opportunity. Why Eric Bieniemy? I understand maybe Brian Leftwich, he's just getting his feet wet in this thing. But Eric Bieniemy, bro, he's been to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years, something like that?
Yeah. I read something today, and it said that Eric Bieniemy, his best shot is to go to a team that has a defensive-minded, who, for example, the New York Jets. Their head coach is a defensive-minded guy. Mm-hmm. Go there, bring your offense. That way people can separate Andy Reid's offense and they can know for sure that this is your offense. I think people might think that this is Andy Reid's offense and Eric Bieniemy he's just there. You know what I'm saying? He's just kind of like a puppet. But I was thinking about this, man. I don't think this is just me. I don't think Eric Bieniemy should look for more jobs for this reason. I just have this feeling. Andy Reid mentioned that he is thinking about retiring, which means I don't know how much longer he's going to be around. He can retire this offseason. He can retire this year. Who better than to hand off this machine, the keys to? That's just my chain of thought. Andy Reid has already put it out there. He said he has some decisions to make. I don't think he's going to retire after this year. I do think next year will be his last year. I'm just saying, man. I think it's a perfect setup because you got Tyreek Hill who's tweeting out about him today, saying how crazy it is that he doesn't have a head coach job, which proves your point. Tyreek Hill played in that offense. So he knows what's going on. He knows the ins and out. And so if he wants to move quicker, then fine. Go somewhere and show that you are the play caller, that you are good. I think, listen, man, stay in Kansas City. It seems Andy Reid is the kind of guy that's going to vouch for you and continue. Here are the keys, hand it off, take it. I know people have said, Eric Bieniemy got in some trouble in his past when he was a college football player.
Come
but
on, man.
but look at Urban Meyer got a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, and different people like that, they got jobs. So I'm not buying that. I think
I'm sorry to cut you. I'm gonna say because we got to run.
You're good.
I'm gonna say this in conclusion. And Edward, you said coaches because a lot of people still think Andy Reid is still calling plays and Bieniemy just there. And really, somebody else just said it. And I know you say Bieniemy deserves a job 100%, but Sports Geek, you just nailed it. So how does Joe Judge get a head coaching job before Eric Bieniemy? He was a special teams coordinator. So therein lies the problem. How does Matt Rule get a job before Eric Bieniemy? Because he turned Baylor around a little bit. He didn't win a natty with Baylor. So I'm saying like these, it ain't like if he turns Vanderbilt around to win a natty, I'd be like, give him a job wherever he wants.
Wherever
like
he wants.
But I'm just saying, like, imagine if Coach Hayes came out and said, yeah, Matt Rule gonna have Vanderbilt winning the SEC championship. I had 2 people watching the show. Y'all been to bust my head. So, Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, these are the things we're talking about, and I try to make it like so. I get where you're coming from, Edward, and I do appreciate it. I know you're just making an observation about what people think. I know this may not be your particular view, so I get it. But they can't hide behind that based on all this stuff. Hell, Jeff Saturday, dude, sitting on the couch, want to be a head coach?
Jeff Saturday was on ESPN, working for ESPN. I'm a Colts fan. He was working for ESPN, got a call, said, hey, Jeff, I know you ain't coached a day in your life on a professional level, high school coach. Come coach me. Reggie Wayne was on the team. That's who you give the job to if you're going to take a chance.
There's a lot of people on that staff that were former coaches. But anyway, that's their organizations. That's their businesses. We just here to talk about it. Guys, I got to run because I'm coming right back at 9:05. It is 9 o'clock on the head. Guys, go check Dom out. Ellen already put it in there where you can catch him on his Twitter, where you can catch him at the Lactic Acid Podcast. If you enter track and field, my man is tough when it comes to that. We got 190 people in the building. We're coming right back at 9:05. Coach got to go fill up his cane juice cup. It's a little bit low because we got a lot to talk about and a little bit of time to do it. We're going to open up the phone line, make it happen, and all of that stuff. So with all that being said, I thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. As always, thank you to everybody who subscribed. We coming back every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Tuesday with the Coach Me Coach podcast with my man Dom in the building. So with all that being said, somebody said they had to fact check you. Okay, here we go. I saw that earlier. I apologize. I'm rushing. But again, this is why I don't look at these things. I don't get into the stats.
Hey, blame Fox Sports. That's where I got it from.
Here we go.
So.
Fox Sports. Fact check your guess. Houston was 8th in passing offense and 77th in rushing offense, and total offense was 25th.
Hey, again, FoxSports.com.
Bro, even 8th and 77.
That's not equating to 25.
They get me in my mind. They get me in the 80s.
Or 80s.
Yeah, they give me somewhere in there, 40-ish, somewhere. But I'm not going to go back and forth. I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys so much. We'll be right back on in 5 minutes. Dom, I'm going to holler at you, baby. Peace, love, and hair grease. And we out this joint. Deuce. Peace.